First of all, I'd like to apologize for any pounding you hear, because next door there's some construction going on in that next house over there. So sorry if that bothers you. In this video, I want to talk about Derrida's essay Differance, and it's out of this book, Speech and Phenomena. This book mostly has lots of essays on Husserl's theory of signs that he has in the logical investigations. That is a great thing. I'd like to get into that, but what is also in here is his essay Differance and form and meaning. In this video, I'd like to discuss the essay Differance. I'm not very good at pronouncing French, but it's pronounced Differance. Now we have the concept Differance, and we have the concept Differance. The E and the A are pronounced the same, so I'm gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna read a whole lot from the actual text, because I think that it's something that we all need to read on our own. This is a great thing to know on your own, and what I would recommend for Derrida's essay Differance, Difference, the accent is on the E of differ. I'd like to encourage you to actually kind of know what you're getting into, rather than jumping into this without having any preface, I guess. I read this 4 years ago. I read this first time. I recommend having a good idea that you're getting into something that you're getting into an essay that has concepts that are unwieldy, and you're talking about something where you're not gonna have something that you can hold on to immediately. You're gonna have unwieldy and slippery concepts here, and you need to have a good idea that you're going into something that involves concepts that are it's not something that's not something that you can just they can just put in a nutshell immediately and just be done with it. A lot of reading and thought goes into actually understanding this essay. I wouldn't recommend, I guess, reading a Spark Notes or something like that. But just try and find out a little bit, so that you know what you're getting into. What I'm going to discuss here is I'm going to first discuss the the differences between différance with an E and différance with an A. And I'm going to discuss the principle or the concept of sameness, and the concept of, in the performative aspect, and the grapheme phoneme aspect, as well as discussing this concept while relating it to the method of deconstruction. The main things of deconstruction by Derrida is this essay Differance, and the book of gravitology, and he has lots of other things where the method of deconstruction goes into there. Also, there's also dissemination and lots of other ones too. His concepts do kind of connect various other ones too. The one book that I want to read by Derrida is the one on hospitality. That's the one that I have not read that I would love to have and read. Anyway, first of all, we have. I'm going to write this down so that you can see it, because if I pronounce it, it doesn't sound any different. Okay, see these two words at the top. the French language allowed Derrida to coin this term différance, allowing him to have this way where he can use this made up word with an A to go into this discussion about meaning and such. This différance with an A, that is a made up concept. It's a made up word by Derrida, and he uses because of the allowance, where you say these words, they sound the exact same. There's no pronunciation difference. However, there is difference in the way it's written. This one with the E, it's still pronounced différance. First of all, this relates to various things. It relates to his concept of différance relates to Levinas, Hegel, Nietzsche, Saussure's concept of or principle of semiological difference, and these relate to lots of different things. Also Freud. So it relates to various things. So, however, this is something very different. But those are all things that are good to read. And if you want a good lecture on semiology, go to Dr. Jason J. Campbell's channel. I have in my list of channels, he's at the top. So go to that one, and he has a good playlist, which is a series on semiotics, where he talks about so sure, and I'm not sure if he talks about Peirce or not. But, anyway, first of all, I want to talk about the concept of same. Same has to do with it's a combination. The concept is a combination of identity and difference. It talks about its problem of ideality, identity, and concept. In his essay in dissemination called Plato's Pharmacy, he talks about this principle of saying more in depth. He talks about eidos, ideas, and he's saying that eidos, ideas, is that which is identical to itself. But the principle of same, when we talk about same and identity, this for me relates back to existentialist concepts. How in Sartre, oops. In this book here, Sartre's Being and Nothingness, he does in that book. Sartre talks about how lack, absence, non-being is a integral factor in being. So we do have what is talked about a lot in here is dualities, different dualities, and how one concept can be subverted into the other. The concept of not being, when we talk to even Heidegger and Sartre, non-being, that concept is necessary for being, and non-being can as such be subverted into being. Essentially, what I want to do here is we have same, which talks about identity and difference. It's a combination of identity and difference in this one concept, and this is the way I want to discuss this is like identity. I have a certain identity. This pen and this marker have different identities, and we get difference and same or identity and non-identity, they can be subverted into the other. Just like absence and presence can be subverted into the other, and back and forth. If we get difference difference and same, or identity and non-identity, they can be subverted into the other. Just like absence and presence can be subverted into the other, and back and forth. If I have a certain identity and you have a certain identity, we can get in various identities between people and things around here. Between all these different identities, we can get difference out of that because of how my identity differs from this identity, and how my identity differs from your identity. So that's the concept. We have this is a big part of this here. And then I want to talk about, first of all, the différance with an E. Différance with an E, it means either to differ or to defer. To differ as in difference. Difference between this pen and this in this marker and such. Difference, and that relates to the concept of same. And then we have defer, which talks about delay. To differ into time, and differ relates to spatiality, to space, and to defer relates to temporality or time. And this goes on the French verb défaire, and then Derrida coins the term différance with an A to mean both. To mean both defer and differ. To differ and to defer. Okay. And this is a very paradoxical kind of thing here. Now, what I'm worried about here is that I understand the concept fully in my head. I get it. But the problem is me trying to explain it here. So if I don't articulate something from my head to you well enough, then please tell me. It's just I understand it, but it's just really hard to articulate a concept this paradoxical and unwieldy, on the video here. We have two aspects. We have two things that are important about this thing. Différance with an A. We have a performative aspect, which means by differing from itself and delaying infinitely any meaning. So différance with an A has within it difference, and it differs from itself, and which means that we have the meanings of differ and defer at the same time together, so that we have difference within the same thing. And then we have defer, delaying any meaning infinitely, meaning that they don't mean either one. They don't either mean either one. So différance means differ and defer simultaneously meaning. And then we have the aspect of how the phoneme and the grapheme are different. Grapheme meaning, how I showed you here. It's a difference in writing. How I should show you that. And then phoneme is my spoken word. Différance. Différance describes and performs how any one meaning being put on a concept puts out, it takes out any other kind of meanings. It effaces those those meanings. It takes those meanings out, and it fixates on one meaning. It has fixity, and it shows how any single meaning just comes from how the fact that all the meanings are effaced. So pretty much we have this. I want you to understand the paradoxicality of this word and this word concept, and also non-word or concept difference. I want you to kind of understand this. And if you don't understand this, please tell me. I want to discuss it more then. We have these two things, and he coined the term différance to signify the fact how any single meaning being given to one thing means that other other meanings, other possible meanings, are being taken out of the equation totally. And how we have differ, how to differ, and to differ are either mean the same thing at the same time, or they don't mean either one at the same time. So we have in one word concept, non-word concept, the fact that it either means both of the things at the same time, and at the same time it means neither one. This is not a word or concept. So this concept, non-word, non-concept différance, signifies it kind of shows, it kind of gives a concept for the meaning of différance, or of deconstruction. I have a video previously which talks about how deconstruction is a model for how we should view the world. Now, when we think about différance as some kind of meaning, I think it should be viewed as a meaning for not only the world but for everything. And in the fact that I'm thinking about this as a meaning for everything, it's not a meaning for anything. It's not a meaning. And I want to talk about deconstruction a little bit here, because in deconstruction, what is talked about is how we have a fixity of meaning on one thing, and then we have a marginalized other. And then what is talked about in Derrida's writings is how we can just make the meaning the other thing. We have various binaries in the world. We have dualities and binaries between, passivity, activity, body and soul, absence and presence, and also identity and difference, these things. And what is awesome here is that how Derrida, through this, it shows to me for one thing, how we can subvert one of these binaries into the other. We can subvert absence into presence, and presence back into absence. We can subvert identity into difference, and difference back into identity. We can subvert any binary into each other and make it either one. We can subvert being into non-being, and non-being back into being. And Derrida talks about how, because it's not really a good idea to make the marginalized other the real fixated meaning, but we should have this free play between meanings, and there should be no fixity of meaning. and this thus should be the meaning. So, if you don't understand what I'm trying to say here, please let me know, because I find it very interesting, and I would love to talk about it with anybody who doesn't understand. But the only way I could not have gotten it out to you is because me not being able to articulate what I've got in here to you. So I hope that this was helpful for Differance in Deconstruction of Jacques Derrida. And I think it would be really interesting to view this, in application to not only like prose but meanings in the world, of course. And I've definitely applied that. I've thought about this, definitely, about how this is applied to how we view the world. Apply this method of deconstruction more as a existentialist concept, and I would like to see it applied elsewhere. And upcoming, I'd like to do some rereading and then do some videos on the book of grammatology. I have the book, I just haven't really gotten back into it since the few years since I've read it. So yeah, if you have any questions, please ask me. And I highly recommend getting this book, Jacques Derrida's Speech and Phenomena. The essay Differance is also in Dermot Morin's Philosophy or Phenomenology Reader. So yeah, I highly recommend reading this. It's it's basically a critique of mostly anything. Like, you can use this method to critique critique anything, to critique any fixity of meaning in the world, to critique any binary or anything, really. So that's why I think it's very interesting to read this. So if you have any questions, please comment below. I have a Twitter. It's on my banner on my channel. Either do the Twitter, comment below, or YouTube message, whichever. Don't send me a Twitter message. I really don't ever look at it, because I mostly get spam, and that's really all I ever see. So I pretty much ignore that.